You're very well dressed. You're probably the best dressed politician that we have anywhere.
Well, thank you.
Right? I mean, you take your attire seriously.
I was seriously just going to ask him before the break, before we came back, where he shopped. Because I'm very envious of the style.
Don't even ask because you can't afford it.
I know, I'm in radio.
I shop local.
Very nice.
There you go.
Nice.
In Oneida County. So, okay, now you've been talking about this consolidation, and it is not easy. It's not an easy topic. We see it in school districts. We see it in municipalities. It always turns into a bit of a debate and a fight in some cases. But in Barneveld, these guys just had it up for a vote, and it was pretty substantial vote. I mean, not a ton of people voted, but
right, and that's what happens, and especially when it's not an election day or a normal election cycle. But
they voted to dissolve.
It was overwhelming, and they've been talking about it, and clearly they examined it and from their perspective saw the benefit, and I think the biggest thing I keep saying was and I have been saying this for the 10+ years I've been in office, and trying to move the needle, so to speak, on some consolidation. We've had some successes, we've had some not so successes, but we're trying to do some more, and we've got this thing planned next week, but the big thing is everybody thinks the identity goes away.
Right.
You still live in Barneveld.
Yeah.
The people that woke up the next day, and when that happens, you're still living in Barneveld.
I can't imagine even the sign
still have that history. You still have all that.
What's interesting about Barneveld, though, is imagine New York Mills, for instance. Another small town. There's been talk about consolidation, and with the school district as well, which I don't think will ever happen.
Probably not.
But Barneveld, when you look at Barneveld, and I guess I don't know. I know Barneveld driving up 12.
Right.
But it doesn't seem to have this gigantic old residential area where people have lived for years and years and years and years. Am I right with that, or is it just I haven't driven off into the?
You have to go down into the side streets there off of 360. Off of 365 blends in and comes up through 12,
and that's all part of Barneveld.
Main Street. And those areas down there, it's bigger than you imagine.
You think of Barneveld just as that Route 12
you think
corridor.
Of just that corridor, but that corridor is pretty active. It's an active corridor,
absolutely
and it has and a lot of people live up there still. I mean, and in that area, and you got Mapledale Road, and you got different areas.
So the benefits were there though for these people to look at it objectively and say we're going to do better. We'll do better financially.
The benefits are there, blending in with the town of Trenton. Prospect did it before them by force. I mean, in a sense of they were. I say by force. They were by circumstance, really, by the workers' compensation, and then on the other end, then the southernmost part of the county, Bridgewater as well, looked at it from that perspective too. But life goes on, and Prospect, the tax rate went down because you spread things out. It works better.
All right.
Can I ask you, I wanted to get to the tax thing. Let me begin there. So you have an example here where a municipality was dissolved and taxes went down. Mm-hmm. Okay, the first question. Second question is, you have a real opportunity here. It's a great thing. So the Barneveld still exists. It might not have a mayor or a supervisor. I don't know what they had, but it actually still exists. So there is still that identity. Right. Do you find that there's a fear for New York Mills? We talk about consolidation of police or whatever it might be, that people are afraid that their neighborhood, their village, their town is no longer. We were joking this morning about River Hills, that it's now actually in Trenton, but it's still in Barneveld.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's the same way we talk about River Hills is also in Franklin Square. Mm-hmm. That's not a city, but that was a neighborhood, and that's what
identity.
It's been called. And Cornhill the same way.
Right, you go to either hamlets as they are. Referred to when they're not an established village in terms of an actual government and a charter. and by law. And in
there's a lot of them out there.
Well, and in municipal law, if you go back into there are counties, there are cities, there are villages.
Mm-hmm.
Towns were kind of created as the borders of certain areas, and then town governments were created as a result of that. But the Constitution reflects on villages, cities, and counties. So, but towns grew bigger because of their area, and counties and cities, obviously, but that were in place. But to the point about what are they fear? I think they see that level of government responds to them directly on a daily basis, and that's a comfort zone, and it's hard to break away from that too, and that's where the identity factor comes in as well.
And they know them; they're their neighbors, and some cases they're family members.
But now they're not anymore.
Right.
But that's what's changing. When you look at police departments, and you look at a village like Yorkville, I mean, and even a village of Boonville, the officers that work in those police departments, none of them live there.
Right.
Because you can't. I mean, you're not able to sustain that as villages had in the past. It's not Mayberry,
right?
Where everybody is. Everybody lives there, works there,
right.
Plays there, recreates, and does everything there, and then they.
Have you had any other municipalities reach out in a way to say we're thinking about this?
Well, I think I mentioned Yorkville because Mayor Mike Mahoney, who I've known and is working and wants to look at some consolidation. Yeah. So there are several out there that want to look at it. I think there's the hesitancy because of the pushback, but I think when you start seeing, think about this from Oneida County's perspective. In the last 4 years, 3 villages. And if you go across New York State, prior to that, there weren't 3 villages that dissolved in the whole state in a 20-year time period. So it is starting to, and that's not to say they all have to. But you have to start looking at what those services are. And
in some of those examples, you had said this previously. If you don't do it, it's going to be forced upon you. And there's an example there where it was forced.
The workers' comp piece, the other sustainability of services, the other any type of lawsuit. Look, we're a county. We're bonded and $400 million budget and all that, and we get sued on a regular basis, obviously for different issues because of the aspects of government that we provide. But and we're successful, but
you have to have the resources to deal with it.
You have to have the resources, and you have to have the resources, and that doesn't mean you're losing every case. I'm not saying that. They're costly. Litigation costs. And one slip and fall, one accident with either a police or fire, or one little circumstance can really spin them into financial disaster.
You get back to what we talked about earlier this morning. You could just take the emotion out of all of it. Things would, and that's really with everything, I guess. Take the emotion out and the personal aspect of it. It's amazing how we're able to make decisions.
You talk about pushback, something that's somewhat interesting. Do you see that it's coming more from the leadership in those municipalities or the actual people? Because in the case of Barneveld, we see that it's an overwhelming vote, that the people are saying, let's consolidate the services. Are you seeing it more?
I think it has to be from the people more than it is today, because there are certain elected officials on different levels that get protective of that and believe that that's their role, which I understand, and that they still can do it better the way they're doing it. So it is a mindset. It is also the ability of someone saying, "Look, we shouldn't be doing this anymore," and we've said that on different occasions, or we should be doing it differently, and it's hard to cross that bridge, and so electeds tend to dig in a little bit more, and the message goes back to the people that we're okay. We don't need to do that. So it's the message. It's the message.
Derek Clark from Broadway, Utica asked the question, do I live in Barneveld or do I live in Trenton? And that's what we kind of, I think he's being funny, but it'd be right. I mean, when it's all said and done.
You live in Barneveld.
Yeah.
You still live in Barneveld. So, I mean, we're going to see what where this takes us, but because this is part of what we're doing next Tuesday based on what the governor's proposal and passed in the budget as part of the the whole shared services consolidation. I mean, it's gotten watered down a little bit from what the governor had originally proposed because it's not as stringent, and it has the process that's a little more lenient and doesn't have to, if you don't do anything, but it's a matter of trying to put a plan together.
Yeah.
So in our case, there are 46 municipalities right now. I think we've got like 18 or so or 20 responses for that. So we'll convene and we'll see where we go with this.
Shared services conference. So it's public, or it's elected?
Meeting. No, it's a public meeting.
Okay.
It's a public meeting.
All
No,
right.
it's open to the public. Does not. I mean, the public at this first meeting is a meeting of what's called the council, because it's formed by the governments, and then so the public can go. Public can't comment at this one. We'll have public hearings afterwards.
All right, Ben in Utica wants to make a comment to the county executive. Ben, you're on the radio. Go ahead.
Thank you. Bill, I treasure your comments constantly, but when you start to talk about who's well-dressed, I don't think you have much of a platform to stand on.
Well, I was gonna follow by saying I am the best dressed shorts attire wearer out there.
He's got nice shorts.
With you, I'd like to dress comfortably, but Tony does dress meticulously. But that is also part of his demeanor. He not only dresses well, he thinks well. Thinks outside the conventional. He's constantly pushing. We're so lucky to have a competent county executive. No question about his competency, and I'm a Democrat.
Well, there you go, Ben. That's very, very nice. So thank you for the call. And thank you for the compliment from oh, no, that wasn't a compliment from me. So. All right, thank you, Ben.
You have a nice T-shirt.
I just wonder where you got your T-shirts. They're wonderful.
That is funny. And Brian wants to ask in regards to the odd. Brian, you're on with the county executive.
Yeah, hey, I was just curious. I thought that none of that had passed yet. What is all the construction going on down there? It's quite a mess now.
Oh, that is the other project that has passed. You want to talk about that? We're talking about the auditorium. This is going to be big, Brian.
The odd project has been underway for the last few weeks. Once we got the okay and moved the bonding through the county along with some state aid, started and had awarded the bids, and the work started, and they're working weekends. I mean, those guys are really on
that casino or whatever.
No. That's for the suites, for the upgraded facilities and restrooms, for conference space, meetings, offices, and for other.
How many
pieces. Suites
are there going to be?
Six
new suites, Brian.
Suites.
Wow.
So no, that's that is phase one of the U district as we outlined it.
I don't know. I'm a kind of a guy, I like to try to keep some traditions. I think that was a nice place just the way it was. It's really cool.
Well, I got to tell you,
done doing the facade to it.
Now
you're tore it all off.
Well, it'll look great. But
they're going to leave it like that.
Brian,
the old brick back.
It'll look just fine.
I do have to say
it's going to be built out. So.
The one thing that Rob Esch talks about how important this project is. The biggest thing they're doing is it's going to expand the ladies' bathrooms. That's a huge problem at the odd right now.
That's a problem.
I'm afraid it almost reminds me of that building that was built down on the locks down there near Canajoharie. I mean, you put it all together.
Yeah.
And then go, wait a minute, we don't like this. Let's tear it all down and spend millions of dollars again. I don't know.
You're not. The facade that they replaced on the outside of the building, it's going back up. That exterior will go back up. They didn't say they didn't like it and we're going to change it. They just had to do some.
But
he's being somewhat facetious, Brian. I appreciate the call. I get where you're going. I think you're going to like it when it's done, though. I really do.
Give it a chance.
Okay. All right, Brian. Thank you, Leo. Quickly, and then I know Manasseh's got me out of here quickly. Leo, you're on with the county executive.
Yes, thank you.
And he's from Sangerfield, by the way.
We're talking about townships and things like that. How do we get a road repaired down in the town of Marshall? There's been a road down there that's had rough road signs for about the last 10 years. How do we get these things repaired?
Well, I mean, first of all, I guess the question is it a county road? And if it is, we try to do we have over 600 miles of county roads throughout the county or in this county, and we try to get to a significant amount each year, and they go on a schedule. But if you call my office and give me the details, if it is a county road, I'll look and see where it is on the schedule. We'll send someone out, look at it, and if it's something that we could do in this season and needs that kind of repair, we'll get to it.
All right, Leo. Thank you. Thanks for the call. That's in Sangerfield, by the way. And somebody asked the question, ask Tony how long it takes him to get ready in the morning, or if he gets a spot on his shirt.
People know me well. It's got to be somebody that knows.
Just quickly, Tuesday's conference, time and place.
9 o'clock and 9 a.m., Rome campus, MBCC.
Great.
By the way, that was Kelly Owens. And Kelly, by the way, has a really big position in New York State right now. She's congratulations in order for her right now.
She's done very well.
Yeah. All right, Tony, we appreciate the update. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing unfolds.
Talk some more.
There's a lot to unfold, I got to tell you.